أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المنتجبين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, we have now reached the 14th episode of our presentations on the significance of Shahrullah, the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, referring to the holy month of Ramadan. Today, in this brief presentation, we would like to share with you how do we keep our fast, how do we purify our soul through fasting and prayers. Right? Purify our soul, or keep our soul chaste, based on this hadith. This is hadith number 125 in our book Shahrullah fil Kitab wal Sunnah, which has been compiled by Muhammadi al-Rayshahri. In this hadith, the Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Man arafa Allah وعظمه من أعفاه من الكلام وبطن من الطعام وعفى نفسه بالصيام والقيام. What a beautiful hadith, subhanallah. See what Prophet says. Man arafullah, the one who has cognizance and marifat and knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وعظمه, and would like to revere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also reveres Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knows his azmat, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? What does he do? Man afahu min al-kalami. On account of knowing the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on account of having the marifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would protect his mouth from speech. Of course, which kind of speech? Evil speech, foul language, swearing, right? All those things. So it says, Man afahu min al-kalam. He would just prevent his mouth from evil speech. Wa batana min al-ta'am. And he would in fact prevent his stomach from food. Now again, which kind of food? Haram food, najais food, things which are forbidden, which are not halal, right? From filthy food. He would keep his stomach free from that. Why? On account of the azmat and marifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Prophet says, وَعَفَى نَفْسَهُ بِالصِّيَامِ وَالْقِيَامِ. And he would keep his soul, his nafs chaste. He would purify his soul through what? بِالصِّيَامِ وَالْقِيَامِ. Through fasting and through prayers. This hadith can be used anytime during the year. But in the month of Ramadan, because we are already fasting, it becomes easier. And we are not only fasting one day, but we are, inshallah, those of us who are blessed to remain healthy throughout the month, right, and remain pure and park, what do? We fast the entire month, from one crescent to another crescent. It is easier. It's like, for example, i'tikaf. I'tikaf, and those people who do i'tikaf, they confine themselves and stay in the masjid for at least 3 days. Right? Now, one of the conditions of i'tikaf is that you should be fasting. You can do i'tikaf any time during the year, but then you have to fast. In the month of Ramadan, you are already fasting. So what's required now is that in the state of fasting already, you just go and stay in masjid, right? In the same way, this hadith can be applied any time in the year. That Prophet says that afa nafsahu, right? Afa nafsahu bil siyami wal qiyam. That just keep your soul chaste and purify it through fasting and through praying. So this is very important. Let us look at this thing. That deriving the marifat of Allah, once we realize who Allah is, of course there is no way any human being can know the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not possible. Right? Where is Allah, the creator, and we, the creature? We are so weak. Right? But having the marifat, realize Allah is so great, or trying to understand that cognizance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would automatically make us speak only when required. Right? We'll only use our speech for dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will only use our speech when we need to admonish others, or even admonish self, or advise our family. Right? Otherwise, we will just keep quiet because of the azmat that how can I even open my mouth when Allah is so great? What if I were to just, say things which would displease Him? We are told during the time of Rasulullah, when Prophet used to train his companions about speaking less. So just because of that, when they heard from Rasulullah the benefits of remaining silent and maintaining silence and only speak when necessary, when they heard those kind of hadiths, we are told these people used to put pebbles, the companions of the Prophet used to pebbles in their mouth so as to just not speak when required. So much so that sometimes when they were riding their horse or a camel, they would be riding and their whip would fall down. Instead of asking somebody that you get me that whip, the person would just mount, right, from the horse. Just get down from the horse, dismount from the horse and pick up this whip and again continue riding. Why? Because rather than removing the pebbles and speaking, he would just get down and get the whip. So just training. And one of the ways of controlling the tongue is remembering that Allah is so great. How can I dare to speak? And this is very understandable, right? Logical. Sometimes we are in the gathering of people who are more learned, great scholars. So when some kind of discussion comes, even if we may know the answer, even if we may know how to respond, we would try to control, because out of respect of those great people. Now, knowing the azmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the marifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can at least do what is that we try to control. And more so in the month of Ramadan. If somebody were to swear at us, somebody were to say certain things which are inappropriate, what we would do, we would just try to control our tongue. Let me share with you, what some of the hadiths regarding remaining silence. The Prophet told Abu Zar that, "Oh Abu Zar, there are certain things, 4 things no one can achieve except you. One of them is samt, remaining silent. Remaining silence can only be achieved by a believer," Prophet says. Mawla Ali alayhi Islam says, silence is the sign of nobility and fruit of the intellect. It is a sign of nobility. A person is noble. We say a person is khandani, noble, right? The sign of nobility is that you will find he speaks less. And it is the fruit of intellect. If an intelligent person in another place, Imam says in Najj Balagha, he says that when a person's intelligence reaches at its maximum, right, then we'll find, at that time we find the sign of his maturity of intelligence is that he speaks less. So the more a person is mature and intellectual person, you find that he does not speak a lot, right? Now the hadith, Mawla Ali again says that a believer is the one, كَثِيرٌ صَمْتُهُ mashkoor waqt, right? Mashkoor. We find that what he does, his great part of his life is that he is remaining silent. Kathirun sabt. He remains silent more than speaking. And if they stand, he will just remain preoccupied doing other things. So these are the signs of what? Remaining silence. And in the month of Ramadan, we have been told, right? In this hadith, Prophet advises us that afa nafsahu bisiyami wal qiyam. Just keep your soul chaste and purified through fasting and through saying prayers. And this is the best month to control our speech. People were to say so many things, we will just remain silent. We will only speak when required, otherwise we will use our speech and do dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me end this discussion by sharing with you one more hadith from our 8th Imam, Imam Ali al-Musa Rida salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, whereby it says, surely silence is one of the doors of wisdom. Right? It's a sign of wisdom. That you want to achieve wisdom, you want to get into wisdom, then remain silent and you'll find that Allah will show you the doors of wisdom. Right? He says, surely silence secures love. This is also important. Sometimes people say things, people don't like it. When we say certain things, people don't like it. And what happens? In the process, we make enemies. Or for example, people stop liking us. So it secures love, in Prophet Imam says. And Imam also says, silence leads to all good. To all good. There's nothing but good is achieved. And this is the best month of Ramadan, whilst we are fasting, because Prophet clearly says that you can just keep your soul chaste and purified through remaining silence and through saying prayers. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Ya Allah give us tawfiq, that whilst we are fasting this Ramadan, we train ourselves to rein and control our speech. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له